So, is it like in a movie film where each one of us has a different skill set and it's only working together that we can pull off that which needs the pulling off?
I was $140 million distraction.
You might want to call the bomb squad.
Now it's time for a wild ride.
Now that you've been tagged with red notices, you've become the world's most wanted criminals. Go, go, go!
Exciting! That's what crime thrillers are supposed to be. To add a bit of zing to the thrill in a movie, an Interpol agent is added to the team of crime fighters. This agent could be a handsome Hulk or a sexy siren. Criminals are chased down amid crashing cars, rolling speedboats and hovering helicopters. Movie plots invariably begin with a plan for a heist, a murder or theft of a top secret file or formula, etc. Dark intrigues combined with gunfights, explosions and physical combats to provide a bloody climax. The good guys vanquish the bad ones and everything is rosy and cozy in the world, at least in the movie world. The reality is quite different. Fighting crime is not as loud and as colorful in real life. It is impersonal and grey. Interpol does not employ agents or gunfighters to fight crime. It has to make do with a member country's police force. Still, it has an impressive track record, despite not having its own police force or weapons. Interpol had a rather bland beginning. It all started when anarchism threatened the 19th century Europe's established order. Anarchism, as you know, is a political philosophy that has its roots in the French Revolution when anti-state ideologies sprouted all over that continent. Pierre-Joseph Proudhon is considered the father of anarchism. Others like England's William Goldwin and Germany's Max Stirner contributed to the rise of anarchism as an extreme leftist philosophy or ideology. The post-industrial revolution globalization gave it a huge boost when mass migration became a norm. Along with Marxism, anarchism fueled working class struggles in Europe and the Americas. Anarchists were quite active participants in the Spanish Civil War as well as in the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Of course, it also had a hand, anarchism or the anarchists had a hand in other socio-political upheavals in Europe. Terror strikes, bombings and killings became the norm. The killing of the Spanish Prime Minister Eduardo Dato on March 8, 1921 was one of its highlights or major hits. When rumors spread that anarchists were plotting to overthrow the political order across Europe, it was decided to thwart them. After several false starts, the International Police Organization, also known as Interpol, it is more famous as Interpol now, was founded on September 7, 1923. Soon, anarchism and terrorism spread to the Americas, Asia and Africa. These extremist movements created an ecosystem that helped spread crime syndicates all over the world. There were mafias, crime syndicates, gangs, whatever you want to call them. They spread their tentacles all over the world. As a result, gun running, human and drug trafficking, and arming of secessionist movements in different countries became a lucrative business. Consequently, Interpol enlarged its scope of anti-crime activities. Today, Interpol promotes mutual assistance between police forces in its 195 member country. It also nurtures institutions that are likely to contribute to the prevention of international crime. Headquartered in Lyon of France, it is the only police organization that spans the entire globe. Today, it is facing bigger challenges like cybercrime, frauds, and counterfeit medicines, especially after the COVID-19 outbreak. The internet has created a new breed of anarchists, the cybercriminals. They easily transcend international borders and commit crimes anywhere in the world with no constraints. They sitting in one place with the help of internet, they can commit all sorts of crimes, like they can easily hack into the computers of banks and other organizations to steal money or steal trade and state secrets, etc. Even corporate secrets get stolen by hacking computers of specific companies or corporate houses. It has become a sort of very, very ubiquitous crime, a phenomenon. Crimes against children have become widespread too. Terrorism has received a huge boost. Interpol and its member countries have been devising new ways of tackling these crimes, which have been graded according to their seriousness. Interpol issues color-coded international notices to help authorities in different countries to handle situations such as finding a dangerous person or identifying a dead body and similar other happenings. So what sort of notices are these? What sort of color codes are these? The first one is the orange notice. It was introduced in 2004. This notice indicates a potential threat from hidden weapons or dangerous items such as a parcel bomb or substances that have been stolen. For example, uranium, which can be used for creating dirty bombs, as they call it, crude atomic or nuclear explosives. Black notice. Now this is the second type through which the Interpol provides or seeks information about unidentified dead bodies. Then there is the yellow notice, which helps track missing persons. Similarly, the green notice warns about major criminals and gives information about such criminals to different member states. Blue notice provides information about individuals of interest related to a crime, and it also includes possible witnesses or potential suspects. About them also the information is exchanged or relayed or retailed. Then there is the red notice, which also, by the way, is the name of a very successful Hollywood movie. A red notice is a request to locate and provisionally arrest an individual pending extradition. It is issued by the General Secretariat at the request of a member country or an international tribunal based on a valid national arrest warrant. Interpol cannot put pressure on any member country to arrest an individual who is served a red notice. So it depends upon the ball is in the specific country's court. If you go to the Interpol website, you will notice that there are about 7,156 or 160 red notices in circulation. Of them, 960 are females and about 6,196 are males. Among all these, there are 213 Indians and they are all male. The Indian female criminals have not yet reached that international standard. Most cyber crimes are transnational. Therefore, Interpol operates around the clock, 365 days a year, to help law enforcement agencies in different countries for investigating these crimes. Interpol can provide focused cyber intelligence derived from inputs on a global scale. Its main initiatives focus on the following. Number one is operational and investigative support. Then cyber intelligence and analysis, digital forensics, innovation and research, capacity building, and national cyber reviews. Most of Interpol's funding comes from the member countries themselves. Each country contributes according to its size or GDP or both. There are also member countries who make additional contributions voluntarily. Interpol faces several constraints. For example, despite Interpol's constitutional prohibition against, and I quote from the website, any intervention or activities of a political, military, religious or racial character, quotes closed, there have been reports of authoritarian regimes abusing the red notice system in pursuing dissidents overseas. In other words, the dissidents, the persons against whom red notices have been issued may not be criminals. They might be dissidents, political dissidents or moral dissidents, or those people who listen to the voice of their conscience. And these authoritarian or totalitarian countries, they harass them by requesting or asking the Interpol to issue red notices against them. A 2011 investigation found that 28% of red notices were from countries identified as having no civil liberties, and that half were from countries ranked among the most corrupt in the world. Julius Assange is a case in point. The WikiLeaks founder, he received a red notice for having sex without a condom. When Interpol issued an arrest warrant for his so-called sex crimes, everyone assumed it was for rape. But it turned out it was for violating an obscure Swedish law, which perhaps most of the lawmakers themselves might not have been aware in Sweden. And this law was against having sex without a condom. Why that law was made, when it was made, we do not know at this stage. The controversy over red notices highlights a central dilemma for Interpol in the post 9/11 scenario. For example, in 1998, Osama bin Laden became the subject of an Interpol red notice for murder, and this notice was issued at the instance of Libya. This happened 4 months before Al-Qaeda bombed the US embassies in Africa, and the 9/11 happened, which was the greatest terrorist act ever committed on the American soil. Interpol has been more successful in fighting non-terrorist or non-political crimes. Among the prized scalps are those of Charles Sovraj, also known as the Serpent, who specialized in befriending and killing unsuspecting tourists. Then there are the cases of Albert Walker, who was a Canadian fraudster, the Algerian train killer Sid Ahmed Rezala, and many more. As far as Indian fugitives are concerned, hardly any high-profile ones have been nabbed so far, whether it is Dawood Ibrahim, Nirav Modi, Lalit Modi, or Mehul Choksi. But we all know that Interpol can only be as good as its local partners. So the onus is on the Indian law enforcement agencies. Despite its deficiencies and constraints, Interpol has helped in improving the efficiency of law enforcement agencies around the world. It has proven so successful that even officers from countries with no diplomatic relations can work together through Interpol channels to solve crimes and capture criminals. Yet, crime remains 2 steps ahead of crime fighters. This has been a traditional or historical phenomenon. And this particular thing, that crime is always ahead of the law enforcement, and that is a challenge which Interpol and its members must face up to in the coming years and decades.